welcome to Graceful Healing, a podcast to get straight talk about healing and living again. My name is Maureen Lake. I'm a holistic health coach, speaker, author, and thyroid disease fighter. Each week, I'll be bringing you graceful conversations to inspire you to seek new ways to hit the reset button to catapult your health and vitality to new levels. Listen in and open your heart to all the new possibilities. Are you ready? Let's do this. Before I start with my guest today, Michele, I wanted to share a little bit about our amazing retreat, The Joyful Journey. Basically, have you been feeling called to Tucson? We have a rare opportunity to treat you to a special weekend where your sole focus is on you. This fun-filled, educational, and spiritual weekend is all-inclusive, including delicious farm-to-table meals at the beautiful Tanque Verde Ranch. Each day is tailored to you and your intentions, including a personal nutritional analysis, guided healing, meditations, journaling, and play. Yep, lots of play. If this sounds good to you, please contact me at gracefulhealingpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll send you all the details. Come join the fun with us September 20th through 22nd. It's always so much fun catching up with Michele. After our wonderful weekend in Portland together, attending Show Up Live with Rachel O'Rourke and Maru, we feel like our heads are still spinning. And being together allowed us to really work on our retreat, which, by the way, we only have a couple of spots left. But today, we talk specifically about asking for help and why it's so hard for so many of us to do this. Why is that? Is it cultural? Something fairly new in our society? Could it be masculine energy versus feminine energy? We talk all about this and more. Gosh, we sure hope you enjoy this latest episode of Graceful Healing. Hi, Michele. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing, Maureen?
Oh, I'm good. I'm surviving this summer heat, but other than that, and that's nothing compared to where you live, I'm sure.
I know. How hot is it in Denver today?
It's in the 90s.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty hot for you guys.
It is.
This is the last couple of days is probably the hottest will be all summer. Everybody's talking about it.
Oh, wow. Well, we must have the same heat wave.
Yeah, I think the whole western part of the U.S. has that. And we just need some rain, which I guess be careful what you wish for. Because, right, the South got hit so hard.
That's right.
With their rain. But
wasn't the weather so beautiful when we were in Portland a couple of weeks ago?
It was the best. That was such an amazing weekend.
I know.
Just everything about it. The retreat that we attended was so eye-opening, heart-opening, and it was awesome to be in Portland, and it was great to see you.
It was great to see you too. And just the fact that we walked to the retreat, we thought we were walking 4 miles, but it was actually 9. I mean, that was like amazing because it didn't seem like that at all. But for our listeners, we went and attended the retreat in Portland called Show Up Live with Rachel O'Rourke and Maru. And boy, you talk about a transformational weekend.
Oh my gosh. It was amazing to see the people on stage and listen to their stories, and then to actually get to participate in that activity with Sean Smith so that, it was great.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Powerful is the perfect word. And you're so right about walking. I feel like, often you go to these kind of things and, you hop back in the car and you get back to life. And because we had that walk, I think it helped me to process it as we were walking and talking and looking at the beautiful homes in Portland.
Exactly. And the wonderful weather.
Oh, gosh, I know. I'd go back there in a heartbeat right now.
Me too. And it also gave us time to talk about our retreat. And that was nice because it's so much better to do things in person than it is, talking on the phone.
And more excited every time we talk about a retreat. But after Portland, it was really fun to start putting, all the schedule together and really, what we want to do while we're at the Tanque Verde Ranch in September.
Yeah. And the activities we have planned are pretty amazing.
I know it. I'm so excited.
I am too. And oh gosh, just whenever I go on the website for Tanque Verde Ranch, I'm just like, cannot wait. It looks so magnificent.
Well, and I just want to remind you, because we were talking about the heat, is that September in Tucson, might have a couple hours of heat, but the mornings and the evenings are, oh my gosh, they're just perfect. As soon as the sun goes down and before the sun really gets too hot in the afternoon, it's the perfect time to be here. And we'll be inside for when it's the hottest part of the day. So no problem. In air conditioning, I should say.
It's going to be magnificent. It really is.
Yeah, it is. So if you haven't registered yet, any of our listeners out there, be sure you do soon.
Exactly. I know. Space is running out.
Yeah. So lots of fun things going on this summer. And I wanted to chat with you a little bit and share, since Portland, I felt like that was such a transformational weekend. But a couple things also at work my day job, have presented themselves. And I've really been thinking about this topic about asking for help and how, all of us seem to be in this mode of, not doing that. Like, why is it so hard to ask for help? I don't know if it's always been this way or if it just has become sort of a cultural thing in the last few years. Have you experienced anything like that?
I have actually, just even within my own family and friends, how difficult asking for help has become for a lot of people. And I don't remember it always being that hard in the past. I really don't.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I feel like, as I said, I've done some research on this, and a couple things that have popped up is this sort of cultural thing that self-sacrifice has become more acceptable than self-care. That's a quote. I've just spent some time thinking about how it's almost a badge of honor if you're like really, really busy.
Yep.
And being busy is competitive. Like, am I busier than you're busy? And, like if you don't fill your day with lots of things, then there's something wrong with you.
Exactly.
And it's just kind of a weird thing to step back and notice how around us, it is this like everybody's really busy, but what are we all so busy with?
It's almost like back when a few years ago when people used to brag about how little sleep they were having. And that almost became a badge of honor. Like, well, I only got 2 hours of sleep and look at me, I'm powering through the day, like it was something to be proud of.
Yeah, good point. I do remember more people talking about that.
Yeah, and I think asking for help, people feel vulnerable, and sometimes I know myself when there's something I might need, a lot of times I find myself procrastinating until it almost becomes an emergency and then I have to ask for help.
Oh, yeah. I know. I've experienced the same thing. Or everything gets put on the back burner because I didn't take care of something. And now I have to do it all, on a deadline or last minute. It's not the quality that I would like. And it can be silly things like, knowing that somebody's coming over for dinner, yet, I didn't get the house ready. So now I'm like in a panic or not giving myself enough time, to get to the store or whatever. So in small ways, I think we're programmed to not ask for help anymore. And I'm going to really be working on that myself and paying more attention to that in my work environment too, because I work at a university, so we're headed into a really busy time of the year, which, we always expect, but we kind of get a little bit lulled into complacency during the summer because it's a different kind of pace. And then, we're surprised by how busy we are, come August.
So what do you think? Do you ever fear like you're being a burden, like if you were to ask for help or? Well,
yeah, I think that is what we have to kind of get over is that if you, this mindset of if you ask for help, you're needy or, you're incompetent. But really, like, we've all been there. It doesn't mean that if you ask for help, it's because you didn't do something. It just means help me out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this was a great idea to do a pre-ask. Now this can be anything, like, with your children at home, like with your coworkers, even, family and friends, that if you do a pre-ask, like, hey, if I need help with this, might you be available? Mm-hmm. So somebody then has, they're not put on the spot right then to make a decision.
Yeah, and the thing is, people love helping. I mean, they really do.
Isn't that, because it's such a good feeling when you can help somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you don't always know what help could be provided. So if you ask, if somebody asks you, and you say yes, that feels good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really.
I know.
So, I mean, that I think another quote that I saw that I'm going to frame this one. If it says, when we ask for what we want, we give other people the opportunity to say yes, and we stop saying no for them.
Oh, that is good.
Isn't that good?
Mm-hmm.
Because think about how many times, if in your own world, family and friends, you're like, if only I'd known, I could have helped you with that. Yeah. Or what can I do? And nothing. I've got it all taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. or someone doesn't want to be defined by whatever the problem or issue might be.
Yeah, for sure. So another thing that came up in the last couple of weeks, it's been really hard and sad, is a friend of mine's husband passed away suddenly. And, those are also those times. What happens typically when somebody's in crisis? Everybody wants to bring food. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is like the common thing, mm-hmm. right?
Yep.
So, just thinking about what does she really need, or what does her family really need, is probably not more food. Somebody to, whatever it is, drive them somewhere, or, just make that phone call, mm-hmm. or send a text to be there. Whatever you need, I'm here. And not that taking food over is certainly important. And I know that that's a really good thing, but really to offer to be there for other things as well.
Sure.
And that would be a situation where, that family is probably not going to ask for help. So you might have to, kind of step up and.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because nobody wants to admit that they're out of control.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Right. But I'm going to get on the bandwagon of asking for help. I'm going to start a movement.
Hashtag ask for help.
Exactly. Hashtag ask for help. Because think about what a great help mm-hmm. It would be. Things get done faster when you have help, especially when you sort of divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. And people feel good, as you said. If somebody asks you to help, you're usually going to feel pretty good.
I have a friend that actually came out and said to me that the reason she didn't ask for help was because she feared that then I would owe her a favor.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was really, really telling. I mean, first of all, I'm not really sure I would feel that way, but I could certainly understand it from her point of view.
Yeah.
Which I just thought was really interesting. And almost like, well, if I do this for you, then you're going to have to do this for me, kind of that whole kind of back and forth give and take. But I think most people really are caring and just want to help strictly to help, not that they're looking for anything back in return.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, again, it could be a cultural thing that mm-hmm. it's, well, you did this, so now I expect you to do, X or Y.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, most people, I think, will have a good feeling and would not expect anything in return.
I agree. It kind of makes you wonder, maybe something happened in the past that got her kind of stuck that way. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it very well could be that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. Or somebody did something for her and then expected something in return. Mm-hmm. But, I'm just thinking how this plays out in so many different ways, because we can teach our children that one is, that asking for help is okay, not that it means you're less capable, but also the value of doing things together and being part of a community.
Oh, yeah.
Many hands, that little quote, whatever that was, lightens the load. Think about like all those little projects that happen in a community because many people are helping.
Mm-hmm.
And the same could be true in your own house or not. I mean, and not just in crisis. This could be anytime.
Sure. And even just having someone to ask means that you're supported and connected.
Yeah, that's a great way to think of it too.
Yeah.
And keeps you connected to people, friends, family, your community.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Hashtag ask for help. So on the other side of this, one of the things that I do find really annoying is when somebody doesn't ask for help and then, later they're like a martyr about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we can change that mindset as well.
That's true.
It's like, hey, you don't have to do the whole thing yourself. You've got people here that can assist in many ways, and then that builds on the strength of those around you too.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the things I am not good at are going to take me twice as long to do, but if I ask for help, they can probably get done a lot faster.
Oh, isn't that the truth? Absolutely. Gosh.
Yeah, and then we can all play to our strengths and
mm-hmm.
All right, I think we're on to something.
Yeah, and one thing, just my own personal kind of narrative or story is, in the past, I've been hesitant to ask for help because I have a fear of rejection. And it took me a long time to come to terms with that and understand what that was. And when I reflect, I know that there's been times where I have asked for help and I've been basically told no, no, I'm not going to help you. And so that just kind of sets a pattern in place that you're a little leery to ask for help after that because you have this fear of rejection.
Yeah, well, that certainly would be a very strong reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I could see why somebody wouldn't want to, even if it was, somebody totally different, the reaction or the response could be very different. But,
and, now I find that I kind of phrase my ask differently because of it. And by that, I mean, I say something like, I'm kind of nervous or hesitant to bring this up, but I was wondering if you could blah, blah, blah. Instead of,
that's a great way.
Kind of ease into it that way because it helps me, like, if they say no, it's not as, like, harsh of a no. And it's also kind of asking in kind of a, I don't know, windy way, and it's not very direct, but it's, I guess, who I am. And it's just more comfortable for me to kind of ask in an indirect way than it is directly.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think you have to find your comfort zone though. And if, maybe after doing that, however many times, and you don't get rejected, then that will make you more comfortable,
exactly.
over time to ask in more direct way. Mm-hmm. But it's still a nice way to ask. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just wondering if you might be able to help me with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I could do that. That would be a nicer way to ask than some ways.
Yeah, because I think for a lot of us, asking for help is hard, but I think it's really worth the risk. It really is.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking about all those really small things, like let's use cleaning up your kitchen as an example. If you feel like you're the only one who ever does it, and your family, doesn't help, you just start building that resentment too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So really, if you just were upfront about it and asked for help, you would get probably a better response than storing it up, being resentful, and then blowing up one day when somebody didn't put their dishes in the dishwasher. Mm-hmm. I've been there. I've done that. Which actually makes me also think of, I'm doing so much self-reflection right now. Like, you might have to give up a little bit of control about how things are done.
Yep.
Because it may not be as perfect as we do it, but it would be still better to have help than to feel like we have to do it all ourselves.
Exactly. And like, who cares the way the cheese is cut or whatever, it's going to melt anyways. So
what a great example.
Yeah, I think that's really true just about what you shared with menial household chores. Anything. It's kind of, you just have to kind of give and receive, and what you put out there will come back to you. It's like karma,
Yeah, it's true. And you think about the opportunity for growth for other people to grow. So, if they don't do it perfect, but they can learn how to do something, thinking about maybe a higher level than the dishes in the dishwasher now. But, something, maybe it's work related or, something that somebody might do it and it may not be perfect, but they've helped you not have to do it. And this is a good way for them to learn something new as well.
Yeah.
And grow. And that's really what this should all be about is, helping other people and helping ourselves at the same time.
Exactly. It's like paying it forward.
Yeah. 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 I like that. So that's a whole different mindset than, the sort of perfectionist or martyr.
Right. Exactly.
What a much better world we could live in.
It's actually just smart. It's smart to ask for help when you need it. Yep.
All right. So we're going to start asking for help on those small things and get confident and less fear of rejection to when we can ask for the big things, and we'll have a nice support system around us.
That's true. That's true, because it does take a village, and you have to start with little baby steps somewhere.
Oh, yeah. And that whole, as we age too, thinking about, we won't be able to do everything that we're used to doing.
Oh, gosh.
So whether that's cleaning your own house or yard work or, some of us have dealt with our parents, not being able to drive anymore.
Right. Or even take their daily medication. I mean, a lot of that is you have to really be in a place where you can give up a lot of your typical habits that you've relied on for so many years and understand that you have to ask for help now. That's a biggie. That's a biggie, the whole aging process. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking a couple of days ago, we were having a discussion about, when does somebody who may be, having trouble with memory care or memory, at what point does the family say, okay, you can't stay at home anymore? And, this was just a really informal conversation. And really, if you could ask for help, either the family or the person, maybe along the way, that date could be pushed back.
That's really true.
So like, okay, if I have help, reminding me to take my medication, then it won't be as much of an issue, or, things like that. It could help a lot for people to be able to stay in their homes longer.
Yeah. And also for the loved ones to understand that their parent or whoever it is having difficulty, because oftentimes we're in denial that that's even occurring.
Oh, sure. And don't want to be a burden, that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. I know that just came up for us over the weekend with a friend. And, sort of like, wow, this has got to be really hard because there isn't much help.
Right.
Now I'm having a little different perspective, thinking how, we could help this family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how is asking for help, has that affected you at all in your position at work, or?
Well, this, I haven't really put anything into action, but I've really noticed when people aren't asking for help.
Oh, really?
Just like I've had this like new awareness, and somebody just this morning said, I have all this to do, and I'm going to delegate. And I was like, okay, so that's another word for asking for help. But, thinking, well, how could you do that in a way that feels good for both, the person who needs the help and the person who will be helping?
Yeah.
So, it's actually, I think I'm this kind of a learner. I observe it first, and then I integrate it into my own life. So kind of that, like watching from above.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I feel like I'm starting to do. Like, oh, here's another opportunity. Here's another opportunity. How can I make that happen in my world now? But I love your idea about, not being as direct, maybe. And so people won't be kind of off-putting, just like, hey, I'm, trying to, because that just seems nicer.
Well, it is nicer, but then there's some people, And there's a lot of people like this out there that will just want a more direct approach.
That's true.
And I mean, I've heard that as a direct comment to me asking too, is like, just get to the point, kind of thing. And I'm just like, okay, let me reframe that sentence. But it's all really part of like your personality and who you are and what you're comfortable with. And I can be direct when I need to be direct, but then I can kind of weave my way in and out to get to what I need and want as well. So
yeah. Well, I do think that there's a time and a place for both. Being indirect and direct, and you have to know your audience.
Exactly.
So just like you said that, if you know that somebody wants you to get to the point, then you just, almost have to take that leap of faith and be vulnerable in that moment.
Yeah. And that if somebody says no and shoots you down, you know what? You can't take it personally. There could be a lot of other reasons why somebody can't do something that we aren't even aware of.
Oh, and exactly.
Just always kind of keep that in mind. It's not necessarily that they're taking it out on you or it has anything to do with you personally. So that's the other big thing that took me a few years to kind of come to grips with, was like, everybody has their own personal life and story going on that I'm not even aware of, even though I might think I know them really well. So when somebody rejects you or says no, it could be for lots of other reasons other than that they really don't have time for you right now. So you have to always keep that in mind.
Yeah, a very good reminder of, everybody has their own story. And it's kind of egotistical to think that it's always about us.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what this is reminding me of? Again, just to bring Portland back up, just ever so briefly, the whole masculine, feminine energy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kind of getting a deja vu about that whole presentation and how, some of that could really play into how and why we ask for help and who can and who can't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I think I've been noticing a lot more of that masculine and feminine energy too since Portland. Again, sort of that being up above things and go, oh, that's definitely some masculine energy, or, not to say it's bad, because there's definitely a time and place. And then, recognizing that, where I am in how I'm receiving things too.
Exactly.
So I think, I remember reading the 4 agreements. And this has been a long time ago, and I've been thinking about reading it again recently. But I think that's one of those 4 agreements, to not take things personally.
I think you're right.
And really it's pretty high level when you think about it, because the first thing we do is kind of wound it if somebody doesn't, act how we think they should act. And it really has nothing to do with us in most cases.
I know. And it's hard. It is really hard. You have to put in a lot of trust that with that person that you're having that relationship with, to know that it's not about you. It might be something that they're going through, and to give them the time that's necessary to work through it. And I do think it's really higher level, because I think most of us tend to just react and have that gut response like, oh my God, and you take things so personally, when you really need to stop, take a breath, take a step back, and just kind of reassess the whole situation. And oftentimes it has nothing to do with you at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Now I'm remembering back to Portland, how powerful that was to have a conversation with your younger self.
Oh, gosh.
So many of our reactions are based on an experience that we may have had as a child. We don't even remember that experience anymore, but somebody, a teacher or a family member said something to us, and that just went right to the core, and that stays with us throughout our life, and even, into other lifetimes, if you believe in that, sort of that, staying in ourselves. It's just fascinating to me that, when then you enter into a relationship and you bring all that with you, and now that person in the relationship also brings all theirs with you.
Oh, yeah.
Or with them. So all of a sudden, of course you're going to react, and it's not always a good situation.
That's true.
But to be able to step back and, really have that higher look and say, whoa, wait, this isn't really about me, or this is something I'm reacting this way because of something that happened many, many years ago, and I don't need to continue down that path. Yeah, heavy stuff.
It is heavy stuff. It's a lot for a Friday afternoon.
Oh, man, no kidding. Wow. But, this is all the kind of conversation that I'm excited to have at our retreat in September.
Oh, me too. Me too. And, one of the other things, and I know we talked about this briefly, is like how powerful meditation is for me in my life right now, and how I've upped my amount of times that I'm meditating every day because I'm needing it for some stress and anxiety in my life, and journaling as well. And those are two things that we really are going to focus quite a bit on, is meditation and journaling and yoga nidra and rest, and so many powerful and exciting activities that we have planned. I'm just so excited.
I know I am too. And, when we've talked about the kind of activities, is really introducing kind of a variety of different ways to go about meditating or journaling, so that, if somebody's thinking, well, I've tried meditation and I can't do it.
Right.
That, there are other ways. It's like, it doesn't mean there's only one.
Right.
And
there's no
we'll introduce
right way.
Exactly. No right. And everybody can do it, even if you think you can't, because I'm one of those people who has a lot of trouble getting my brain to stop talking. But, we'll explore some of that, and we'll talk some of that, and hopefully put that into practice from the first day that we see everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And just try to set a whole agenda and tone from that point on. So it's going to be so much fun, and lots of play. We have lots of play planned, and
lots of play.
Yeah.
It should be called, instead of joyful journey, maybe playful practice or something.
There you go. Maybe the next one we'll call that.
That's right. That'll be our joyful journey 2.0, will be more play.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just so excited. And of course, I'm thrilled that I get to see you again.
I know. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Michele. This was a great conversation. I'm going to...
love it.
Yeah. I'm going to really give a lot of thought to this. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to move into that next level of asking for help now that I've observed a lot of it. And I'm going to hold you accountable, and I hope you'll hold me accountable for asking for help.
I will. And the thing that intrigues me is, if you know somebody that needs help, but they don't know how to ask for it, that's where I'm at.
That's a little harder.
It's a lot harder. It really is. It really is.
And I keep thinking about my friend. Just keep showing up, and not to wear them down, but just confirm. You're there, and you'll do whatever they need. And hopefully at some point that, we'll create this culture of it's okay to ask and not feel vulnerable by asking.
Right. I mean, vulnerability is a huge strength.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
It really is. And I always, feel like if I can laugh at myself, I don't care if others laugh at me. So, kind of like, oh, I'm just, whatever. Like, I'm a knucklehead. So, I'm the first to identify it. So,
and admit it.
So that way, I guess I'm vulnerable and others can see the vulnerability.
There you go.
Yeah, it's working for me right now.
Yeah,
so.
I can see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, because otherwise, it's just a game that we play, I think, for people to think that, we're perfect. And I don't know anybody who is. So
no, me neither.
I'll be the first one in line.
Exactly.
Oh, well, it's always great to have conversations with you. And I just love all of your interviews. They're all so good. And I look forward to each one.
Well, thanks. Well, I'm looking forward to talking to you again really soon, Michele.
Okay. Well, you have a great day and a good weekend ahead of you.
You too. Talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you can, take a moment and give us a review. And please join the VIP room in Facebook for more discussion and insights. You can find us at Graceful Healing Podcast VIP room. See you there, and see you next time.